Righto, how are we, ladies and gents? Popping in to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes, making of, whatever you want to call it, of the last little
intro clip.
Don't even know what you want to call it. We've called it Might Die Socials, but it's intro, you know what I mean? That's what it's sort of like a little intro for all my YouTube videos. So the whole plan with it was to initially make some sort of like movie, Hollywoody style, Dolby Digital intro thing that just plays before all my videos, but at the same time represents all my socials, and you can sort of get a little bit of a gist on where to go and all that sort of stuff. In saying that too, the first ideas that we had ended up changing completely.
And many a times. Many a times.
Flat out. Like, we were like, oh, we'll do it like this, we'll do it like that, and then it went from going too hard, we can't do that, maybe we can do it like this, maybe we can do it like that. And we ended up with the finished product, which I'm pretty sure I'm pretty happy with, we're all pretty happy with, and pretty stoked with. Anyway, so this is how we did it. Starting off on the basics of pretty much getting all this sort of stuff dialed, we got, it's pretty sort of straightforward. We ended up getting an old Super 8 camera, did a little bit of detail there on the front. Hold on, let me just see if you can see that. Can you see that? Might Die there, Might Die Super 8. So yeah, we added that little bit of Might Die detail there, did that with the screen print at home, which was a little bit of playing around, but we got there. Then this is pretty much just spray painted. We stenciled it up, got the spray paint out, smashed the YouTube logo on it. Same deal with the book, I guess. It's pretty much just a basic book we got from the op shop. In saying that, on the op shop deal, everything in this whole thing is like recycled, secondhand. Apart from, like I just seen there, we got some brand new speakers and a brand new screen for the TV, but we'll go to that. Everything is pretty much like...
No, they're not even brand new anyway.
Yeah, they were both second-hand, sort of. To a point they were, weren't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, so nothing brand new. It's all about re-upscaling and cycling and all that jazz. Anyway, and then we got the old little Instagram camera there that I'm pretty happy with. I think fucking Schmido's pretty happy with. I think we did a fucking pretty dope fucking job of the little Instagram Might Die camera. Same sort of deal, masked it up.
Started off too with a reason we built that was for a completely different thing that 100%. We ended up filming and using it for. Like, that was built to be broken and
yeah, and we
smashed apart and whatnot. But
that was our initial plan.
It ended up being that good. We didn't want to do it with it, so we changed.
Yeah, we were going to break and wreck everything. To be honest, everything was going to get broken and wrecked, but we ended up doing, and everything looked so good. We were like, we can't break this shit, man. We got to work out something else. So anyway, that's how we did that. Bit of spray paint, bit of pulling it apart, all that stuff, and we got there in the end. The TV at the end, we had to completely fucking build ourselves. So that was a pretty, like, turned out to be, our initial plan was just to get an old TV that was just fuzzing. And that sort of ended up being a little bit of a problem. We ended up hooking up a grouse old TV from a mate, Dave. Thanks, you're a legend. Cheers, bruv. But it didn't work, so we were like, okay, now we're going to just have to use this old TV, and we pretty much refurbished this whole old TV, man. Added a full LCD screen into it, put all these, like, Logitech speakers that we got from JB for fuck all, because kids had pushed holes in the speakers. Score, right? Full score. It's cranks now. You should hear this little boombox. It's unbelievable. But anyway, did a couple of little touches and shit just to make it our own and make it a little bit Might Die, and ended up with this full mad little art TV that I'm fucking pretty fucking...
It's something that you definitely keep and put in a place that a lot of people see.
Yeah.
It's decent. It's a good little bit of art.
Fucking super stoked on the old little TV. Then there was obviously the lettering. I don't think we've got any floating around.
No, there's some just here, but you've put it on the front. But with the lettering, that was just something in Borg's head that was like, how do we make letters float? What letters do we use? Do we make letters? Do we cut letters? Do we
3D lettering? How do we do it?
Without doing it digital on the computer.
Because that was another thing too. In saying that was my whole. I wanted the whole intro thing to almost have a semi-digital look, but all in camera.
Done real time.
Yeah, like, you know, like old school shit. Like, if you go back before there was all this special effects shit, special effects was done, like, in camera. There was real shit, you know. You watch your old Batmans and shit. Go watch some fucking special effects. I'm being behind the scenes of that shit. And, like, it's crazy the way this shit was done. And I guess ended up sort of getting some ideas. I don't even know how I came up with this. I was just like, what about...
We were just throwing ideas around in our own heads, and you thought of that, like, the back of vans, like, basically what we used to put on
Yeah, so pretty much this is just like you get this shit from like fucking Autobarn, super cheap. It's like badges for your car, you know. If you want fucking your own shit on your car, then we pretty much stringed them up because it's got your adhesive at the back, and that's pretty much how we did lettering, which is pretty good because I've had a lot of people sort of say it looks digital, and that was my aim, and I'm pretty stoked that that's the sort of impression it gives. In saying that too, there was obviously we had to go back and do a lot of like wire removal. We removed all like fucking got rid of all the wires and shit in all the footage, which was fucking tedious work, but we got there in the end.
But realistically, you're saying it's tedious work. It was for what was done on the computer, but for what the thought we had in our head for the start on these letters, like how were we going to make these letters float, it actually came about really quick. We just started doing it and realised the process was there. It was all there.
Yeah.
Just we overthought stuff, and it's so easy to do in something like this because there's so many different aspects of just stuff going on and crazy shit, and so much of it, you just get lost, very, very lost in it. In it all. It's an easy thing to do.
Just lost a lot, but we'll get back to that. So then, technically, righto. Anyway, we're back on.
So once the letters got done,
and we'd made all our sort of semi-main props, it was time to sort of
put it through a camera lens.
yeah, see it, work it, do some test shots just to see if, well actually, not really, hold on. Now, the other element was working this bad girl out. This, my friend, is a gutted old school RC car. GoPro. This is actually not the GoPro we used. Much thanks to Spence for lending me your new GoPro 7 with stabilisation. Right, anyway, so pretty much what we did here, the old zip tie, bang, GoPro to the front. Obviously that's not sturdy and good, but that's pretty much what we ran. We ran that with a big pole on the back, and that was how we were going to get our sort of glide shot in our heads. So there was a lot of testing to do with that. We obviously tested different cameras. I've tested it with my Osmo, I tested it with my Sony, and they just sort of still had a little bit too much bounce, so the new GoPro worked super good for that. Yeah, I guess then it was the test shot sort of dialing in.
What was going to be on the ground.
Yeah, and just like obviously getting this thing straight. There's a little bit of turn in it. We had to like work out how we were gonna push it as well as being able for things to go under it and through it and all that sort of stuff. So the pole ended up being pretty sort
It
of
was more so because of the run that we had to send the car down to get that shot was you couldn't just walk easily behind it because there was shit you had to step over. Like there's that bike over the middle of the path, and there was just that much shit. If you clipped a edge of your shoe on a bit of the fishing wire or whatever, it just explode all letters, and then there's hours more of work. So it's kind of the less you could walk through it, the better. So we had to try and think of something to push the little car through.
pretty much. And the old pole ended up just being the best one and smoothest, like with a continuous flow. Otherwise you could you'd move it and it would stop, and then you'd push it a little bit further, and trying to link that clip together ended up super hard, where if you just had it on that pole you could keep a consistent nice smooth run, and it ended up sort of getting the shot that we were after. As for then, I guess that, yeah, like in between test shots we were setting everything up. It was sort of like test shots with nothing that ended up being, okay, let's start building this set.
Started off with bricks.
Yeah,
Four bricks.
few bits and pieces to be like, right, these are our main things, now we got to build around it. That took probably a good couple of days just to sort of work that out, work out how everything looked, because like you'd build it from up here and then you'd go down to your camera view and everything would completely change, and you'd have to move things to make it visible on the camera as it went past it.
And remembering the whole time that we've done it all around these little fuckers. So they're our main, we've done them first, as you know, so to then put them in this with so much other stuff, it was real easy to lose them.
Yeah.
So, and it was really hard to make them visible as shit the way we wanted it to do, like to look, when there was so much other stuff going on around it. So
100%.
it was that's where when Borg says it took a couple of days, like there was obviously
just making sure everything looked
shit.
right from the camera's point of view. Like it was super weird trying to design something from up here, but the camera view is from down here. Like, you know, we're always laying on the fucking ground.
You're never going to see it from bird's eye. You're
Yeah.
always going to see it from down here, so you're not going to make it laying on the ground.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a task, but we got there in the end and ended up sort of sorting it out. But there, then I guess then we had the setup. Then we were doing a few more test shots, obviously to get
The
it.
more it got full in there, more test shots, obviously more shit for the RC car to hit with the steer deal going on. So
100%. There was like a lot of just, you'd go in for it, you'd hit a fucking tyre on the side of the Modi or something like that, and it would just, right, bring it back. And then I think for probably 2 nights or so, or 2 days, we sort of did some test shots. Then it sort of got super late one night, and we were like, righto, we'll come back in tomorrow and sort of do the initial shot. Fixed a few things during the day, and then ended up shooting it that night. And then it was, I guess we sort of dialed most of it in. Everything was starting to look good. And it was go time. It was time to get the smoke out and hit it for good. And even that, I guess, we did fucking shit tons of runs.
Oh yeah.
When it was smoke time, like just to be honest, man, it was the cart moving those
That's
tiny
exactly what I
ways
was about to say.
and hitting
It's hard.
edges.
Like, you can get through the first part of it, not a problem, bound and roll, get under the bike, all good, and then you get to that last little stretch and you hit it and you've just done this sweet pass, like, and that's what it comes to. Like, it might not sound like much, but it's like, fuck, I've got to get this pass perfect, but to get it perfect, it's got all these different elements surrounding. So it was almost like a bit of a celebration when it was done.
Yeah, it was
Quietly.
pretty good. But it still was, we're still like, was that it? I'm not sure if that's good enough. It looked pretty smooth, dude. Anyway, so we ended up getting the shot. The shot was smooth as. Once we got the shot, it was like pretty much time to put it on the computer, start doing post, and that's where all the semi-technical side sort of started coming in. Same time too, we also went out, we got the drone shot. The first initial drone shot, we just went out to like some industrial estate out the side of the city, shot that shit, which was sort of pretty sort of semi-interesting and cool. We had sort of, what you were holding it like.
Yeah, so I was down low at that drain. Firstly, it's all done reverse, backwards.
Yeah, that's a complete
So
reverse
what you
shot.
watch is in reverse. So yeah, basically I'd started at the drain with the drone on my hand as flat as possible. And then just walked back enough, and as I got to a point and brought my hand up and tried to make it as steady as possible, Borgs then just fly it off from my hand and get the rest of the shot. And that's really the only way we could do it. We couldn't fly the drone in normal and then up to the building that low. We couldn't get the drone to fly that low to the ground because of the sensors, but I guess it's something until you heard me say that, you wouldn't have known it was in reverse. So
yeah, and in saying that apart from like, well, it's pretty funny. We initially went out there to get like a moon shot because it was a full moon. We waited an hour, went and got food. Righto, the moon's coming up. It popped up for a bit there, and we we're like, all right, let's get this shot dialed. We pretty much just rocked up, and then we we're working out how the shot should go. You know, does it come in like that? Does it go over like that? And we we're sort of working all that shit out. By the time we'd worked that out, the moon had gone behind the clouds.
the cloud had just
I reckon we waited about an hour and a half, an hour.
Easy.
Yeah, for the moon to come back out, and it didn't come back out. So we were like, fuck it, let's just do this. And in saying it, to be honest, I'm pretty sure when we did, like, suss it out, this is how we're going to do it, I think we did, like, one test shot, and then did another one, and the second one was just, like, perfect, seamless.
Yeah.
Smooth as, so that was pretty
once
lucky.
we worked out that's how we were going to go to the building and whatnot, it was like 2 shots after that when it was done.
Yeah, so that was sort of, that's why if the little bit of lightning at the start, that's digital. That's the only thing that I added that's digital because I initially planned for a full moon, but Mother Nature didn't give it to me that night, so I just added some fucking lightning. You gotta love a bit of lightning. But other than that, that's probably about all on the drone night shit. Then I guess the pipe. Yeah, the pipe was a little bit of an issue. That's the same deal. Like, that's all camera shots. I pretty much had this fucking old orange gun. This is actually probably illegal and I shouldn't be showing anyone this because it's a weapon, but it's not because I pulled it apart. It's not a weapon anymore. But, so that was pretty much, we dropped the camera down a pipe a fucking few times because I thought it'd be easy as fuck, and I did a few first shots and they looked grouse, the pipe looked grouse, but I ended up sort of realising that you could see what was coming the whole time, and it was super weird, but it wasn't weird, it's fucking science really. You can see what's at the end of the pipe. So I needed to then come up with using like a frame from the start of the next clip. And like, man, we had this pipe up to the TV like this.
Yeah,
fucking
we weren't just dropping a camera through
Schmeek was fucking holding it like this, and then I'd have the camera on a pole. I think we did that shot in reverse as well. Like I started it at the end of the pipe and pulled the camera back.
Yeah, it was.
And like that's how we ended up getting it on the shot. So that because it just wouldn't, I couldn't get it to fade in to the like underground shot, if you will. It just kept like changing pictures because when it was coming through the pipe, all you could see is either weird lights or the floor. But we got there in the end, and that was a little bit of an issue too. But we got there.
Even just the simple thing of, oh yeah, we'll just push a camera through a pipe. Yeah, not a problem with a broomstick. You know, stuck to the end of it, or not even. We're just like pushing it through, and the camera was actually spinning in the pipe, so the shot was twisting as it was coming down like a corkscrew. So we had to try and make something to stop the camera from doing that, and then to do it so it was easy just to drag it through rather than push it. So that's basically what was done in backwards as well.
Yeah, so we could pull it out in a straight sort of line. But that's all just gnarly little things that you sort of come into when you're doing all this sort of shit.
Things you come up against that you've got to sort out, otherwise it's not going to work.
Yeah, and you're sort of too deep into it to be like, well, that's how we're going to do it. But I think sort of other than that, everything else was pretty sort of digitally side, you know, adding effects, which weren't really effects, man, to be honest. Like I said, everything is very
the only
in-camera shot, like
is the lightning.
The lightning, yeah. Everything else was actually shot in camera, and then it's just color corrected nice enough so it just really pops. I don't know.
And other than the slow mo bits and pieces and little bits, whatever it's done, like that's the only other effects that needed to be put in via a computer.
Yeah. I mean, same time, there's a little bit of, I think I stabilised a few bits and pieces, and you know, there was a bit of editing in the night clip. I had to sort of change a few things. There was a big billboard on the side that I had to blur out. I forgot I did all that sort of shit. And just a few little things like that. And obviously the wires, getting rid of all the wires in After Effects was...
Borg spent a lot of time behind the computer after the majority of it was built, and a lot of the time I'd ask, what part are you up to? And it was the wires. It was taking the longest. It was so full on of it, like so much of a job on the computer to do, just to get rid of it. I don't know how it's done. I didn't do it, but I know it was fucking a lot of time.
In the safest way, you sort of just each frame you're moving this little thing that like hides it.
Yeah.
Each frame, and like, I tell you what, I wish I recorded it at 30 frames per second, not 60 frames per second. And if anyone that understands that, you'll get that and be like, I had to do double the amount of frames. But anyway, it works because it's a smoother looking image. Anyway, whatever, shit happens. But I think that's pretty much probably it on running through how we got it done, how we did it.
The main steps, obviously, there was a lot of little other bits and pieces in there. Lost the light again.
Dropped a light, but that doesn't matter. We're coming to an end anyway. But
yeah, there's obviously a lot of other little bits and pieces in there.
And that's
that
just you can find that out yourself. Yeah, that's the sort of shit.
You start a project, you're going to come up against those bits and pieces. So yeah, the majority of what we did, and I guess for a video like this needed to be addressed, is we've done.
Yeah. You sort of, you know how we did it now. A little bit of the old insight, and hopefully it like inspires y'all to fucking get out there and do something creative.
Yeah,
it's always
hopefully
good.
You're sitting there going, "Fuck, I didn't realise I did it like that."
And that's cool. That would also like, and I mean that was like I said at the start. That was my main aim. That was my main aim, to sort of make something that almost looked a little bit like that full on. That it's like, can you record that with a real camera? Well, yeah, I did, and we did. We just used a GoPro and a drone. So. And a Sony action cam for the pipe footage.
The other thing, the biggest kind of thing, was lighting, man.
Yeah, insane. That was a massive deal.
And making it black.
Yeah. Like I fucking spent like $70 at fucking Kmart on just like black sheets and shit to hang, just so like. And then you'd have to hide the lights because they'd be in the shot like that. That was super. But I mean, at the same time too, that was like a massive learning stage for me. Like I learnt a lot about lighting.
Yeah, I guess in that, and you said it as you were doing it, because Borg spent a day on it by himself because I was at work. So, but setting all that stuff up, Borg was saying, like lighting, it was the biggest thing, and it's something I guess from what I've seen and learned about it, you can't really be taught where to put a light, how to put a light in the right position. You've just got to do it.
Yeah, and if it works, it works. I mean, I guess there's probably, if you knew someone that was really, really good at lighting, they could teach you some shit. But it is, it's like, I don't know, when you don't know what you're doing and you've got no other options, it is just sort of like a trial and error, and you end up just coming up with your own little neat ways of doing things,
Yeah,
and they work
10 times, 10 other ways to do it way
fuck
easier.
always,
But
yeah.
hey, it worked.
And you learn, it's good. But yeah, I think that's sort of it for your behind the scenes, I guess, making of, whatever you want to call
If you
it.
enjoyed the video, let us know. It's not really something that gets done a whole lot around here, so let us know what you think.
Yeah, or why you liked it, what you thought about it, what you didn't like about it. Look, man, I'm always up for some fucking
just
nice
if
criticism.
you like seeing our heads on camera, like we've got plenty of other stuff we can film for you guys, and it would be interesting and funny. So hit us up. Let us know. You want to know how to fix a dirt bike? I'll teach you.
There we go. Hit us up. We need that feedback, dudes. If you're loving this shit, you're digging it, keep it on. Hit up these socials. Facebook, Insta. You're hopefully already on the fucking tube. But anyway, here's a weird shot for you to fucking crack yous out. Can you see yourself and yourself and yourself and your woo? Peace out, homies. The whole plan with it was like, the plan was it with it. Fuck. Hours and hours of setting up. Seconds to pull the fucker down. Crazy shit, man.